Before we wrap up, Hex, let's talk about the Silent Hills demo that recently popped up on the PS4 store, the ambiguously titled PT.
Yes, the internet is on fire with chatter and theories about this crazy corridor horror romp. And with Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro teaming up for both Silent Hills and this little teaser, well, we had to jump in and see just how scary it actually was.
The family was gathered at home on a Sunday afternoon. Don't touch that dial now. The son came to investigate the commotion. The father shot in tears. His 6-year-old daughter has a good chance to hide in the bathroom, but reports suggest he lures her out by telling her it was just a game.
Hex, I didn't know what to make of PT at first. I didn't find it particularly scary, but I did find it tense. From the moment you wake up and crawl to your feet, you're alone. You're not given any direction and quickly find yourself caught in this endless loop, walking through the same corridor over and over.
Investigating the commotion, the father shot in tears.
Yeah, I thought it was labouring that repetitive mechanic a bit. But what that does is place you in a situation where you start to question your own actions. You start to think, am I doing this right? Is the game broken? Did I miss something?
Yes, with each loop you actually start to feel less sane. Initially, I found this frustrating. Sure, it's a high-textured, nicely lit and well-rendered corridor, but it's still just one corridor. However, you soon start to notice that there are minute differences in each loop.
I see what you're doing.
And then the hunt for clues is on.
I thought it was interesting that I found myself going through the same self-imposed actions over and over. Look at that, 1 minute to midnight. Checking the time, looking at the same objects. The game doesn't ask you to do this, but you find yourself doing it naturally. Which is why when subtle changes start to occur, it's so thrilling.
Yeah, you definitely latch on to those small differences. Searching for some obscure trigger to break free of the cycle, or at the very least, move to the next corridor instance.
It's so dark.
All the while, this tension is building, and you know that the further you progress, the closer you are to some terrifying encounter. They nailed the atmosphere, didn't they?
Oh man, I don't think I've heard more horrifying sounds in my life. I'm not even sure what I was listening to as I looked through that peephole. Crying, sloshing, tearing, groaning and thumping. Gross. It just sends your imagination into overdrive, which in my opinion is one of the greatest horror techniques. You know, showing you less and letting you imagine the worst.
Yeah, and that's amplified by how hard you have to concentrate to solve these puzzles. It reminded me a lot of those old flash jump scare games, where you'd be using your mouse cursor to navigate a maze, your nose all but pressed against the monitor as you move your way through a narrow labyrinth, when suddenly, bam!
Yeah, those things are the worst. There is obviously a much more refined atmosphere in PT.
Yeah, there is, but for me the creepiness kind of melted away once I started focusing on the puzzles. Still, it's intriguing trying to piece together all the fragments of this narrative, and I like that everyone's playthrough is slightly different in some ways.
Yeah, I still didn't make sense of it at all.
The only me is me. Are you sure the only you is you?
But I don't think you're really meant to. There are countless theories online. The last time I saw this much of a blaze of discussion over a game's narrative was BioShock Infinite.
Yeah, there's some serious sleuth work going on, such as how PT may actually be shorthand for a tree called Populus ticocacca or something like that.
Yeah, something to do with the model, the gene model matching the numbers that voice comes out with at some point, I think.
204863.
And this particular tree is common in Northwest America, the setting of the previous Silent Hill games.
Plus there's also trees on the demo's promo art. It's all coming together, Hex.
Wait a minute, is this just going to be a video game version of The Happening? You know that M. Night Shyamalan movie where the trees are trying to kill you?
No, I don't know it, but it sounds boring.
Yeah,
Killer trees.
It's pretty lame. Anyway, as far as teasers go, this definitely preps us for what we can only assume is going to be a pretty terrifying game. I know this isn't meant to be representative of Silent Hill's gameplay, but it really is a promising taste of the atmosphere that Kojima and Del Toro are going to bring to the series. I'm excited and petrified, but mostly excited.
It's interesting to see developers experimenting with prologues and unique demos. The Stanley Parable had a fantastic demo, and even Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, which was, not very creative and very overpriced, it still got people talking about the game. So I hope that trend continues.
Yeah, me too. Good chat.